Welcome back to our podcast, you guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I am Percy.
I'm LD, and this
Just listen
is
to
Two
two
Gold
old
Mike.
mics. So we have a ton of things to talk about in
Do
this
we,
episode. I feel like
do we really? Do we really have a ton of things to talk
yes, we
about?
have a ton of things. There's a lot that's been going on in the news as far as politics. It's a lot that's been going on also just in the streets in general, child.
That's every week.
It is every week. It's honestly
Let me tell
exhausting
you
to keep up
something.
with.
America is going to give
America has
you
a problem.
absolutely. She's going to give you a story.
She does. She
Whether
has
you want a
to.
story or not, America's going to give you a story. If you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening to
Yes.
us on wherever you find your podcast, I don't know. Oh, save us, favorite us. I don't know how it really works, but do something.
Right, yeah.
Let us
Good
know you're
thing.
there. Let us know you're there.
Right, that you're a part of our community, a part of this family, and also,
Affect those metrics. We're trying to
yeah,
make some money.
right, give us the coin. And we also would like for you guys to follow us on social media. So whether it's Twitter, Instagram, we don't have a Facebook, pending, but follow us on those platforms.
I don't know. The girls on Facebook are real concerned.
Yeah, we
On Facebook. Twitter.
miss us
Do
with
we,
the Facebook.
we have a Twitter page.
Yeah, we have a Twitter and
Thanks,
we have an
thanks to person.
Instagram.
We have Instagram.
So
And
reach
then I
out
have
to
a
us.
personal Instagram. Request me, Alex. I'm accept. I know I just may make it public.
He definitely needs to make his profile public.
And I'm gonna make me a Twitter. So by the
Yeah,
time
I just
by the
made
time
one.
you hear the next episode, I'll be on Twitter.
If you're on all the social platforms. But yes, follow us at Two Gold Mics on all platforms. This Two Gold Mics podcast, actually,
With the number two.
with the number two.
Numerical people.
Right. Check us out.
Check us out. How's your week been?
This week has been productive so far. I know it's only we're not even halfway through the week, but it's been productive. Like, there's a lot going on in work, and then still trying to, of course, be on it for the podcast. And I got a ton of personal stuff that I got to get done. As always.
Well, by the time you all hear this, I wish you productivity for the remainder of your week.
Yes. Thank you, friend. What about you? How's your week going so far?
I need to be more productive. Mondays just never do it for me. So I always kind of try like take it easy.
As they shouldn't.
But I have a few things to do personally and professionally, so I'll definitely get to them tomorrow. I did start some stuff today. But I'm just never not a Monday person or a morning person. Really anything that start with an M and an O. It's just not for me.
I know that's right. Real facts, though. But don't be too hard on yourself either.
I'm not.
Yeah, because
Let me tell you something.
you do a lot, sir.
I'm not.
So take those moments as they come. They don't come often. So if you're not feeling on a Monday, don't feel it on a Monday. Take your time.
You're right. I'm gonna feel it on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday.
Oh, you don't even have to feel it in.
All right. So let's jump into the political rundown. Oh wait.
Before we jump into it, because we got a comment on YouTube.
Oh.
The girlies wants to know what we are drinking. Shout out to Simone for coming in the chat on YouTube. Please, as Ladary said, leave comments, commentary, talk back and forth with us in the comments. But the girls want to know what we're drinking on.
Oh wow.
Should we tell them? I told them
We
it was a little tea.
should. We can do that because we drink something different every time.
Every single time.
Every single time we're drinking something different. So Percy turned 30. We went to Puerto Rico.
Big 3-0.
And we went to a few bars. They had these drinks. They were like, you can get 6 for $10.
You know what I thought about?
What?
You remember when I ordered them drinks? And then me and Keith, we tipped out because we thought we was getting away without paying for them. But the whole time, Ladarius said I already made the payment. So we just crept right back on in. But
I'm looking like, why they outside the door?
We're trying to get out of there. We done hit a lick. Y'all better meet us outside.
But apparently in Puerto Rico, they had these Capri Sun like adult drinks with tequila or rum that are very, very popular. They're everywhere, every bar. So when we were in the airport, the boxes were like 3 boxes for $20. So I grabbed 3. I brought them on back here to the mainland.
I didn't know that was that cheap now. $3. I mean, 3 boxes for $20.
I think it's actually 4 boxes for 20 because we have 4 boxes. We bought 4 boxes, so that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're finishing up these last three
Sure.
pouches within these 2 glasses. So it's a good, little good, you know.
Yeah, they taste pretty good too, y'all. I think I'm a rum person. I like the taste of rum.
I'm gonna say there is very much rum.
Hmm.
If you're not a rum drinker, or if the tequilas are very much stronger than tequila, so
Yes,
nothing too fancy today.
but that's all. That's all in our
Oh, so we
glasses
definitely
still.
have to share because we drink something different every time, like every.
We
Well,
need it for these topics, y'all.
all right, y'all. So back in, let's start with the political rundown. As you know, during this segment, we do a quick rundown of things, politics that are affecting us. So, friend, oh wait, I'm on. Look at me, I'm on the wrong thing. Technical difficulties, y'all.
Bear with us. Bear with us. There we go.
I'm back. So, friend, the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump.
A hot ass mess. Hot
Friend, what are
mess.
your initial thoughts? We've all been seeing the news. We've been getting alerts. Donald J. Trump indicted on Tuesday. What are your initial thoughts? What was your initial reaction? Because the news has been
Yeah.
swirling for about a week.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sick of it. I guess I'll start with this. First of all, I feel like Trump. I get so tired of the Trump news. Like he's always everywhere, and I feel like at certain points it distracts us from the actual things that are going on that we need to be focused on. Because he's a hot mess in himself all day, all the time. But this was some very exciting news for me too. Like
Not
it's
exciting.
exciting because I feel
Oh my
like
god.
he could possibly actually be held accountable for some of the low down dirty stuff that he does. Like he's not above the law.
Um, check back with me next year on the
Mm,
accountability piece. But I'm definitely interested to see all the evidence that is
mm.
presented. I'm definitely interested in some of the business practices that has led to this. So let me just give you a rundown of like what's going on. So he has been indicted following an investigation into um, hush money payment scheme. And this is the money that was paid to Stormy Daniels before his first run for office to keep quiet about their affair. He has officially become the first president to face criminal charges in history.
Look, let me not clap too
Don't
soon
clap too
because
soon. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has been investigating Trump in connection with his alleged role in a hush money payment scheme and cover up, of course, as we stated, involving adult film star Stormy Daniels. That dates back to the 2016 election. So the indictment by a New York grand jury is expected to be unsealed on Tuesday. Whatever day you hear this, by the time you hear this podcast,
yeah,
you'll be able to go out to whatever your news source is that you choose to utilize, and you'll be able to see an actual list of those charges. Media outlets will not be allowed to broadcast this historic moment live, though the judge has allowed 5 photographers to be there to take pictures and witness. So, what's the indictment for? Let's talk a little bit about that. We
mm,
don't actually know the actual related charges, but by the time you hear this episode, like I said, you'll be able to go out there and see for yourself. And we'll kind of touch back on what those are on next week. But he faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud in the indictment, and that's according to CNN. And at this time, it remains under seal. The investigation by the DA's office in Manhattan began while Trump was still in the White House, and it was brought on by the $130,000 hush payment that was made. According to court filings, when Cohen faced federal criminal charges, the Trump Organization executives authorized payments to him totaling $420,000 to cover his original $130,000 payment and tax liabilities and rewarded him with a bonus. So a little bit of this evidence came from the Cohen trial, where he actually faced federal time.
mm.
So they're just kind of piggybacking off of that because he was involved in the Trump organization's business practices. Uh, Question: Can Trump still run for president even though he's been indicted? Yes.
How do you feel about that?
You know, do I want him to? No. Can he? Yes. That's just kind of
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's you have to
Taking Trump out of it, right?
yeah, just taking
Yeah.
Trump out of it because usually when there's the first for something, it opens the door for many more. So the way that the country is operating at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I don't feel like he would be the last president who faced some type of
Oh no, child.
criminal charges. So, and again, just because he's indicted does not necessarily mean that he's guilty. So
Mm-hmm.
it could be the same for whatever president faces this in the future, vice president, member of the
Mm-hmm.
cabinet, member, whatever. So he can still technically run for office until he is tried and convicted. I will say I've been reading reports like over the days he has raised significant amounts of
Of
campaign
course.
donations,
Of course.
millions of dollars in 2 to 3 days. Like
And he's still
nuts.
leading in the Republican candidacy, right?
He is. So it's going to be interesting to see what the GOP decides to do as far as backing of
Mm-hmm.
candidates. As we know, anybody can enter the race, but usually before it gets to the primary, the GOP will already have decided who they're going to back. And when that happens, what you will see is all the other candidates backing out of the race.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same on the Democratic side. It was the same with President Biden when
Yeah.
he did his run. Eventually, you just start to see all the other candidates kind of fall back because
Yeah.
the Democratic had said this is who they're going to pledge. This is who we think can win the presidency. And I don't necessarily agree with that across the board. That's another conversation. So
Right.
that's kind of where we are. We'll have more information on that on the next episode on what exactly the charges are. I know a lot of it has to deal with, like I said, his business and falsified records,
Mm-hmm.
which is a federal crime when you're looking to get a bank loan. So the organization has like inflated its net worth um, to receive more money from banks, and that is illegal. And a lot of this has stemmed from his tax returns.
No, I was just over here thinking. I'm pretty sure a lot of this got something to do with IRS too,
Yeah, so we
evading taxes and stuff.
absolutely. So we will definitely see what those charges are.
Right, but as of right
I'm kind
now,
of interested to see.
yeah.
But he has, as of right now, he has been indicted. If you're listening right now,
Mm-hmm.
he will have been indicted, and he's going to give a speech. I don't think he's going to be on the courthouse steps. I want to say that all reports pointed to he's going to do that at Mar-a-Lago. So
Mm-hmm.
if he does, we'll kind of touch on what the speech was. But kind of know what it's going to be filled with. But
Right, exactly.
moving on.
And just to say as well, like he actually is pleading not guilty to all of the charges, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. However, I'm not an
You're
attorney.
not
I
getting
don't
away with
know.
all of these
Yeah, look,
30
I'm,
some
I'm not an
charges.
attorney, um, but I definitely don't think that he's going to get it. He's going to be found not guilty on all 30 counts.
Right, it's
But then again, as a former president, be it as it may, who the person is,
a weasel. I'm pretty sure he's
we
gonna weasel
can't.
his
We
way out.
can't. Yeah, I don't think I had any. I definitely didn't think that he would plead like guilty to anything. So
Of course not.
we'll see
Yeah,
it play out. I know there's a lot of people out there who feel like this is a manhunt and
because that's what
the
he's
Democratic
telling you.
Party is after him and this is like an abomination to the democracy. I want to just point out the fact.
That's hilarious. How is this an abomination to democracy when you literally are the reason for the January 6th insurrection? But
Absolutely, and he kind of
anyway,
tried to do it again, but
he did.
he did. But this was a grand jury. Like a
Mm-hmm.
grand jury had to decide that we're going to bring these charges. For those of you all who don't know, A grand jury is a jury of peers. So these are regular, everyday citizens with, not people selected by the Democrats, not people selected by the Republicans, but people during their judicial duty, through the jury duty selection process of coming in and decide and hearing the evidence, kind of seeing the evidence and deciding, do should we press charges based on the evidence that's presented? The answer for those people were yes. So I know there's a lot of rigmarole about, they brought this on, they brought this on, but this was voted on by everyday citizens from all walks of life.
Yeah.
So we just got to have faith in that process that it will see us through. Enough about Trump. Like I said, we'll touch back
Yes,
on
Lord.
that. I had another thing that I wanted to bring forward. I saw this story.
Ooh.
I've been looking. Yeah, have you heard? Well,
Yes,
let's tell the people what it is. So the
Yes.
Tennessee House moves to expel 3 Democrats after gun protests. As you all know, we talked a little bit about the school shooting that happened in Nashville, Tennessee, where we lost 6 lives, 3 children and 3 adults. As a result of that, they have Nashville is home to the Tennessee legislature. There have been protests almost every day, almost every day.
As there should be.
As there should be, absolutely. Things don't change without protest,
Right.
and that's historical. That's not opinion. That's factual.
Come on now.
Things don't change without protest. Tennessee Republican lawmakers took the first steps on Monday to expel 3 Democratic members from the GOP dominant House for their role in a recent gun control protest at the state capitol. So resolutions have been filed against Representative Gloria Johnson, Justin Jones, and Justin Pearson after they led chants from the House floor with supporters in the gallery. The resolution declared that the 3 individuals participated in disorderly conduct and did knowingly and intentionally bring disorder and dishonor to the House of Representatives. So Republican reps Bud Hulsey, Gina Bolso, and Andrew Former filed the resolutions. They successfully requested Monday that the House expedite the process and vote on the resolutions on Thursday. They have already been successfully removed from their committees in the Tennessee legislature. So now, and they also represent 3 of the most diverse districts in the state of Tennessee. So now, and I think I want to say, I don't know, was it 85,000? I should have wrote that down. I don't know if it was 85,000 constituents each between them.
Mm-hmm.
Large swaths of the population now have been rendered ineffective in their vote. Hundreds of protesters packed the Capitol last week, calling for the Republican-led State House to pass gun control measures in response to the Nashville school shootings. And those 3 representatives, Jones, Johnson, and Pearson, they did what they should have did. They approached the front of the chamber with a bullhorn. They chanted with their constituents and constituents from other districts who know that we need effective legislation around gun control.
Child, this is so infuriating to me, especially as a voter. I actually voted for Justin Pearson. And the reason I voted for him is for exactly what he went in there and did, was to be a voice for the voiceless, to speak and try to provoke change in his community and our communities. That's what you want a representative in office for.
Absolutely.
So to be trying to, well, not trying, but
they've
been removed from these committees, and to be doing it so swiftly because they're protesting against these gun laws. It's absolutely ridiculous, opposed to just going and making a change or hearing them out about gun reform. You would much rather act expeditiously to have them removed than to act expeditiously to save lives. It's ridiculous to me. That's infuriating.
It is ridiculous. I want to give a special shout out and commend all of the college students in Tennessee who have driven from all over the country, who have shown up to these protests, who are literally sitting in some of these legislators' offices demanding that they make change. I've been seeing the videos on social media. I applaud you. You are an integral piece in what makes democracy a democracy. We have not
Mm.
had effective change any time in history without some type of revolt or protest. Those things are the rights of every citizen, and that's how change is made. So let me give you a little bit of a history lesson. In
Come on, history lesson.
1960, four black students from North Carolina A&T State University held a sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter, and that was an act that inspired thousands of students to join the civil rights movement, which led to the passing of
Hmm.
the Civil Rights Act of 1965. Some of the activists who were involved in those sit-ins eventually went on to form the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which is the SNCC, a group which will bring further change surrounding racial segregation in America. So we've seen the SNCC. You saw a little bit of them in the movie Selma.
Hmm.
They were a big integral force um, in desegregation in Alabama as well. One of their earliest ideas was to organize freedom rides. So this came from those college students out there protesting. On their journey, of course, they faced violent acts, arrests, and even one of the buses were set on fire. However, they gained huge support from the general public, which prompted President Kennedy to take action to stop the violence. So this shows how influential you are as a person, any shade, any race, any gender. Um, Change comes from civil unrest. That's unfortunate that is still where we are
Yeah.
in this country, but someone has to do it, and it's gonna be us, right?
Right. It's always it's
It's
gonna have to
always
it's
us.
gonna have to start with us. So get active, and it's gonna start with you all too. Like get active about gun reform and get active about whatever you're passionate about. Make sure you're voicing your opinions to your legislators.
Absolutely.
That's how we're gonna get changed, and back them up in there too. Like you said, it started with college students to make these changes. Not just college students, but also the community. It's the community together. Us all come together protesting, making our voices one. It makes a world of a difference.
And I want to say this just to add another layer of thought to you all who are finding out about this story. I want you to go out, of course, do some reading about it. Expelling lawmakers is an extraordinary action. Since
Hmm.
the Civil War, only two House members have ever been expelled from the Tennessee legislature. Since the Civil War, only two. So now you have a GOP led legislator following the process to expel three members who represent three of the most diverse districts in the state of Tennessee for calling for reform to stop our children from being murdered. And I want to say to anybody who's listening from anywhere around the world, that's not opinion. Those things are
That's a
just
fact.
facts.
Come on.
That wraps up all that we have today for the political rundown. I encourage you to go out, do your civic duty to see what's going on in the world. We'll follow
Please do.
back up with you next week.
Please do. Yes, and hopefully we got some better news than that because that just broke my heart, and I'm still honestly I'm here mad. Like so, we're just gonna move it right along.
I would say it's definitely you as a black person, you're definitely always in a state of anger in some form, fashion. I just tell our people in any people because there's an attack on a lot of different segments of our country. Just be informed.
Yeah,
It's definitely hard to do that because it's not always going to bring about the best day, especially for me. But um, digest what you can and be informed.
yeah. And I just want to say, Gloria Johnson, Justin Jones, Justin Pearson. You all have
Our
my full
support.
support, and I just want to thank and applaud you all for being brave enough to take that action to provoke change. Because regardless of whether you're still in the house after this, whether they kick you off in committees, you guys have sparked the conversation, and you have sparked what I would like to believe will lead to change. So, thank you guys for being brave enough to even take that journey
Thank you.
on behalf of us.
And I know this is like a long political rundown, you all. But to President Joe Biden, I want to say I did not like the comment that you
Yeah, I
gave.
didn't hear it, but he said, what he say?
Basically, I didn't put it in the notes, but
Synopsis.
synopsis, he basically said that there's nothing that he can do, and
Of course
it
not.
was a call to Congress to pass legislation that he can sign. And I
But
get
he's right, though, right?
he is right, but I feel like as a sitting president, we've had more mass shootings that we can count, and it's what month is this?
Just
April. This is
right. We
April.
just
We're in
got out of
April.
March. Yeah.
This is out of March, and we've had several mass shootings and several deaths. It's no longer safe to go to school. It's no longer safe to go to the grocery store. It's no longer safe to go to the movie theater. It's no longer safe to go to concerts. And these things are constantly happening. As a president, I would pull my butt up to Congress and sit at the door
I know that's right.
until they pass something.
hmm That's right. That's true.
I think the Democrats are playing very nice in situations where I feel like
And they always
you
do. That's
may
so
need to. I know, but in a situation like
irritating.
this, you need to pull teeth.
hmm True. Very true.
You
You're
have to
right.
pull teeth.
You're right.
What can I take away, or what can I veto? And I know it seems petty and selfish, and
But that's the game that they play.
it is a game that they
With,
play, but it's no longer an option to continue to let our children die. It's not a viable solution to talk about arming our teachers. You sometimes to be a teacher, your job is not to put your. You shouldn't have to choose living
bullets
and
over
dying.
books. Like
Bullets over
that's
books.
ridiculous.
And I fell into one of those rabbit holes, like going through comments on a teacher who basically put out like, "Hey, I love my kids. I love teaching. I love influencing the next generation, but I don't want to have to choose death over protecting somebody's child." And then you think there's one teacher. Who does she choose? She can't save everyone, or he
hmm
can't save everyone. And who's to say after they die, they just won't kill everybody anyway? So we're attacking everything but the root. So let's get to that.
Absolutely.
I need Joe to figure out ways to be more diligent, to be more reactive and proactive.
hmm
I think he him saying that out loud, like literally, like after this happened, does not bring solace to
Right.
any
Yeah, that's true.
parents because we're still doing this. We literally just did this like 4 months ago.
Because honestly, it's like him going up there and saying, "Hey, this is not my job.
Exactly,
This is not on me."
exactly,
Point a
exactly.
finger at
When
Congress. Like, yeah,
when yeah,
you're
the
right.
sitting presidents don't really go to Congress, but I feel like in a situation like this, the world is laughing.
Mm.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the world. I need to get more solid. I've been seeing and hearing some things, so we'll talk about it. But let's wrap it up. It's been long.
Sorry, guys.
Cheer us up for
Yeah, let's move on to some lighter conversation. Well, actually, this
Look,
next
I don't look
topic.
down. I was like, is it light? Hold on.
Uh,
The streets are calling.
oh, hello, streets. Child, let's talk about this very first topic. Okay, first of all, you guys may or may not know, but the LSU women's basketball team just won their very first NCAA championship on Sunday.
Woo
Whoop, whoop.
woo!
I know,
Congrats.
congrats, ladies. Defeating Iowa and the beloved junior guard, Caitlin Clark. This is Kim Mulkey's first championship win with the Tigers after only 2 years with the organization. However, she's no stranger to winning, as she holds currently three national championships with the Baylor Bears before she even went
Oh
to
yeah, they were
LSU.
good. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so shout out to Kim Mulkey for that and for
Shout
being
out. I know she's gonna get a nice little chick.
Oh yeah, oh,
I
she should
know.
already be paid because
Oh, I know she already
she's that
paid.
girl.
I know that deposit hit that account. Need a friend, girl? Let us know.
Look, that little blazer outfit you had on was cute,
Cute. It
girl.
was cute.
Real cute. But despite this being a historic win for the Lady Tigers and Coach Kim Mulkey, social media was instead in an outrage for the gesture that Angel Reese, whom is known for her to be a trash talker and she has a colorful personality. I love it, by the way,
Same.
on and off the court.
Same.
She was made to feel ashamed for the gesture she made at Caitlin Clark. Keeping in mind,
Oh, that ticked me. When I tell you, I was ready to fight.
as you should
I was
be,
ready to fight.
keeping
Who want the windmill? Who want it?
please
Cause you about to get it.
keeping in mind that Caitlyn initiated this gesture first and is not facing any backlash. However,
And I want to point out she has initiated several gestures.
yes, and
I've seen
not
her play like her. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it
right. Yeah, no shade.
either. But
She's being competitive.
she's a competitive player. She's aggressive. She taunts. She does like
Yeah,
she does all the things. And we're athletes in our own right. So
we are.
I
And
mean, let
Chad, I
me
done got some nasty looks from Mr. Ladarius over here
on my face. I
on the
cut.
court. Like he will cut you,
I'll
and that's
cut.
just a part of being
That's part of
competitive and
being
wanting to win.
competitive. You
Yeah.
know.
So it baffles me that Angel Reese is in the headlines for this or for anything other than the fact that her and her teammates just won a national championship, the very first championship for the LSU Tigers. Like, what are we talking about other than that?
Exactly. What are we talking about? It was not. It was. She didn't do anything that was not done to her.
Period.
And if you're in a situation where all the stakes are on the table, yeah, love thy neighbor, but you're not my neighbor. You're my competitor at this point.
She said, "Game over.
Game over.
This was cute. Game over. Who got the ring?"
You lost. In order
Yeah.
to, and I feel like there's just a type of that's what comes with performing
Yes.
at this level.
Yes.
At this level.
And then if you think about it,
If it was anything less than keep it on the playground.
keep it on playground. But think about the men's game. They do things like this all the time.
They are. Some of the things that I saw and people there are a lot of people out there who say that we want to make everything about race, but this was very much about,
Speak on it.
this was very much about race.
Speak on
I
it.
encourage everyone to go out into the world. No, go home and check your biases at the door
Please.
because before they made it to this game, I have seen stories. I have seen um, like news reports about Caitlyn and how she does this and yeah she pumps us up and she comes to the team she just kind of gets us going on that level and it's all been oh yes it's part of the game and and then as soon as we get someone who does not look like her who does not come from the same world as her
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful black queen
Come on.
it's demonized she's villain she's unsportsman
A sportsmanlike conduct.
unsportsmanlike queen like
Yeah.
she's all the negative things that are often
Celebrated.
associated. Yeah, celebrated from whites,
Mm-hmm.
demonized from us because it's aggressive and animal like.
Right.
So let's just kind of be very, very clear on that you need to check your biases. And I say this because we have seen this before a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this with LeBron James. We have seen this with Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
Yeah.
She has gotten calls for being too aggressive. I was like, this is nothing that
Samantha.
has not done.
Period. I'm wrong for saying Samantha.
You are. It was open ended to choose your own name.
Yeah, you're right. At least I didn't say Karen. They've probably been safer. But anyway.
But this has happened to a lot.
Yeah.
This happens all the time to a lot of our athletes.
This is definitely, like you said, I'm glad you brought up racism because it definitely ties back to race. And I also want to add, to that colorism as well because it's certain things that fair skinned women or men can get away with and not seem aggressive i.e., Real Housewives of Potomac and all the shenanigans Robert does. Just had to throw that in there. And the things that a darker skinned person or female would do. So, I mean, racism, colorism, all this stuff is looped in. Like Derek said, check your unconscious biases. And for some of y'all, it's very conscious.
It's very conscious,
Check it anyway.
but for a lot of y'all, your initial response throughout this tournament at Caitlin's behavior has not been the same
It has not.
when it should be the same
Mhm.
uh, for Angel. Um, Shout out to Caitlin who has came out in support of
Mm-hmm.
Angel and the LSU basketball team. That she felt like there was no misconduct on their part. That is literally a part of the game,
Right.
and they should be celebrated as such. So
Yeah, she did.
shout out to her for being an ally
Right. She
in
did.
that aspect.
Yeah, because she did an interview with ESPN actually on today. Pretty much, oops, child, technical difficulties. Today, pretty much like you said, defending Angel Reese. She goes to say that I don't think Angel should be criticized at all, no matter what way, no matter what way it goes. She should never be criticized for what she did. I compete. She competed. Clark said it was a super fun game, and she believes it's going to bring more people to the game, which
It
I agree.
does.
It
It
does.
does. If it was anything less than that, it's middle school game, and you're
Right.
not and you want to show up.
Exactly. And that's probably why, the women's game, basketball game, has suffered a little bit because whether we want to face it or not, like they have been putting like this little cookie cutter type of role. Like they can't do certain things. Like they can't express themselves on the court, for instance. This this a whole myriad of things that they aren't allowed to do that the men game is allowed to do. And you watch, like you said, for the enthusiasm, that energy, that
You watch for the grit. You're from
yeah,
Memphis. You watch for the grit and the grind.
absolutely.
And the crazy part about that is, men and women,
This is not golf.
we share the same set of emotions.
Yes, we do.
We share, and men are allowed to
Surprise.
feel aggressive toward an opponent. An opponent, women are going to have that same response.
Yes,
It's on the same spectrum. The emotional spectrum does not stop and start and end in different places for men or women or non-binary people. It's the same. So everyone should be able to express themselves.
period.
Everyone.
Period. And before we move on from this topic, I do want to bring up Jill Biden
Oh
and
Lord, hey First Lady.
hey girl and all the stuff that she always does something. I'm just like, ever since we've been doing this podcast, I'm like, Jill girl, stay out of it, sit down, be quiet. Anyway,
Doctor.
Dr. Jill Biden, she thought it would be a good idea to not only invite the new NCAA champions to the White House, but she also wanted to extend an invite to the Iowa runner-ups, which has never been done, by the way. It's
And it's not
always
going to
only the
be. It's not
champions.
going to be. First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, God love you.
Well,
Let's not do that.
well,
And speaking for the African American race, I'm gonna step out on it. I'm gonna speak for the race. If
I'm gonna tell you if I'm agreeing that friend. I'm a
oh,
part of
I know
this
you're gonna.
race.
I know
I'm for sure gonna agree.
if LSU would have lost,
Oh, period.
they would not have been invited.
Speak on it.
I
Exactly.
mean,
Absolutely.
it's not trigonometry. It's not complicated. It's a black team. They would have not been invited. The tradition would have continued, but
Absolutely.
because of I don't feel like Dr. Biden is racist in any way. So I would say because of unchecked bias, your initial reaction is to feel sorry because this white team lost.
Yeah.
And you're throwing them, oh, well, yeah, we're just going to celebrate everybody. No. These girls won. They play hard. They deserve to experience that alone.
Exactly.
I mean, no if. I mean, that's not an argument. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't. I've never been a fan of participation trophies. If I win, I win.
No,
If I lose, I lose. It teaches you a valuable lesson. We move on. We
right.
go. We get better. We play again.
Come back, come harder.
Come back. Come harder. I saw her publicist or whatever put out a statement as well.
I saw that.
Keep it. Did not.
Please.
Um, there was not an apology where I thought that there should have been an apology. And even if it wasn't meant in that way, you are the first lady of what is supposed to be the greatest nation. And when your constituents, which is the entire country, feel a certain type of way about what you said, there should be it should kind of lead with an apology. Because if you can't apologize, then who can? It should start at the top.
That's it.
So do better, and word of advice to you, to everyone, kind of think twice before you before you tweet anything or put anything on
Right.
Instagram. Just kind of think about it. I know she probably meant it in a good way. She's an older lady. Hell, just think a little bit, because that was not the move. And if it were me on a winning team, it's like a slap in my face.
It really is.
It's a slap. It's more
It
of a
really
slap
is.
than making it to the White House and being served cheeseburgers.
Right. And did you see that it wasn't Angel Reese, but it was one of the other players. Oh, I wish I what was her name? She's a point guard on the team. But she made a statement. She was like, girl, I want to see Michelle Obama anyway.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I did
Like
see the. I see the. I saw the ask for
yeah.
that. Michelle's not gonna do that. No, she's not gonna do that.
Michelle, she probably see y'all.
It'll be.
She'll
It'll
invite
probably
y'all
be
to the
more about.
house.
It'll have to be after the White House
Oh yeah,
thing.
it'd be low key and but yeah.
She's been forever. We call her forever first lady up here in my community.
Period. Because I don't know this Jill lady. I don't
But
know who this
she is
is.
her and President Obama. They're always gonna like uphold the institution of democracy. So it would definitely be after the fact. But I can
Yeah.
see her doing it way later in a different space at a different time, like having them
We
or meeting
love it.
with them.
Michelle,
We
no
love
pressure,
you.
girl, but
No
don't get
pressure.
them girls. They
And Dr.
tired.
Biden, girl, be careful.
Girl, bye. Bye then. Next.
Not to the first lady.
Bye then, girl. So, an
Stop.
attorney for Jonathan Majors, because I'm off of her, released text messages on Thursday that he claims came from the woman whom he is accused of assaulting. If you guys don't know, we did discuss this on our previous podcast episode about this Jonathan Majors case. So, if you're not familiar, please go back, give it a watch, give it a listen. But according to the messages, which have not been independently verified,
Are you gonna read all the messages?
hmm, just a few of them. Should I read a few?
You can read a few. I'll give you my thoughts.
Let's get straight into the mess. I'll read a few of them. I won't read all of them. But this is what she says in the text message. She says, I told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. Uh, that already, that just gave me chills alone. Then she goes on to say, please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assure me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me and they knew we had a fight. Gives me chills. I'm so angry that they did, and I'm sorry you're in this position. You know what? I don't know if I can continue to read this, but she ends it with "I love you."
Don't.
She ended it with "I love you," and the text messages go on from there.
To
Fran, what
to
are your thoughts?
to Jonathan Majors, fire your attorney. These texts did nothing
Period.
to help you. To Jonathan Majors, I'm sorry at this moment I'm no longer a fan. Um,
Facts.
as far as me seeing the text messages, I was like, she sounds like literally textbook abuse victim.
Literally, every
Literally,
sentence.
she didn't say that you didn't beat her that she didn't beat her down, because I know there's like laceration. She didn't say you didn't do any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
She's literally trying to take the blame from you, but it's textbook abuse.
Victim. Yeah,
Like
victim of
like
abuse.
I just can't get with it. I don't know who on his team thought that this was going to shine him, put a different light on him. But no, it gives me that you did hit her. You might not have strangled her, but you definitely hit her. The fact that the police showed up saw the victim and decided, oh, like you need to go to jail.
That part.
That even that says a
Case
lot,
closed.
and it's triggering.
Yeah.
So at this point, the charges have not been dropped, and as you know, when you're arrested for stuff like that, they can decide if they want to continue the charges, like even without the victim. So the fact that they are doing that at this point,
Will lead you to believe.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm literally gonna have to see a video of like from start to the police came because anything after this, I just can't believe it.
Right. Yeah.
I
And
just
then
cannot.
the attorney kind of insinuated that they did have some type of video footage as well, but
We
release that,
it
girl.
has not been released, so this is like I can't because the text messages show tells me that this has happened before,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
and that she's apologetic because she thinks it's her fault that it was called.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to her. Hope she gets the help that she needs. Um, but that's just not cool, and I cannot support that. It really kind of sucks though. He had a lot. He had been doing. He had been doing like good work. Talking about you know toxic masculinity and being a man
Yes.
in the black community, and then you come up here and you beating on folks.
With all your toxicity,
With all
like
this, like
sir,
you come up here and you're just toxic as fuck.
right? And you can't be a bad person and just think that you're gonna maneuver your way through this life without being held accountable for the things that you're doing. Why are you putting your hands on a woman at all? Period. Again, we haven't seen anything, but this is alleged, just to cover
I mean,
our
she literally
backs.
said it's my fault because I like I took your phone or something. It was like,
Yeah,
wait, no, it's not your fault.
it's not, ma'am.
It's not. So
Praying for the victim,
praying for the victim.
healing energy for the victim,
Okay, no.
and healing for Jonathan as well. You have to, you need some type of therapy. Get in therapy if you're not. If you are in therapy currently,
No,
you might need to go to somebody
no.
else.
What he's been speaking and what his actions given is given like textbook
Narcissist.
narcissism.
It really is.
So I don't know if he can be saved.
Oh,
That is
child.
just is unfortunate,
Very unfortunate.
and we don't like to see our people come to the light. But you know, you gonna have to face that. Um,
Yeah.
put yourself on ice, friend.
All right, child. I'm done with it. I'm still distraught.
I am, but we don't support abusers.
At all.
We don't
Zero
tolerate it.
tolerance.
Zero, like
Zero
zero. I don't
tolerance.
care who, what, when, where, why, or how. You ever feel like you're in a situation where you just can't not slap somebody?
Leave.
Leave.
Leave. Because obviously you don't like that person. You don't want to be there. Whatever the case may be, just leave. You
Mm.
should never be putting your hands on your partner or anyone else for that matter. Keep your hands to yourself. But I won't go there. Anyway, moving on to something lighter. Finally, to something light, right? I said that what 2 topics ago.
We did. We've been saying it all
Well,
episode.
honestly, this is not.
I'm gonna say,
It's
is it
not
light?
light
Tell me what it
either.
is.
Oh my
What is it?
gosh. Okay, so this is not light. Latasha Scott apologized. Ooh, excuse me. That should be apologized. But she apologized to each of the escape members. So over the past month or so, Latasha Scott, as well as her escape group mates, Tiny, Tamika, Scott, and Candy, have consistently been in the headlines. Latasha specifically been in the headlines for her long-standing beef with Candy over whom will lead certain songs and vocals, from her leaving the group to start a solo gospel career to beefing with her very own sister over 30K, which she still alleges that she did not steal, in royalty checks, and to admitting to being in an open marriage with her husband Rocky. So, Chad, the list can go on and on, but she decided to release an apology video on YouTube a couple of days ago or so. So, in the apology, while she was in tears, she still denied, Chad, she still denied owing or stealing any money from her sister. However, she's very adamant that her and Tamika, which is her sister, can get through anything. She apologizes if she didn't hear her sister's voice, which I still feel like you don't hear. How can you apologize for not hearing someone's voice if you're still not owning up to what your sister is saying or alleging? She said that you and your husband stole money from her. And then in your apology, you go to say, hey, I didn't steal any money from you. I don't know anything about this 30K. I'm sorry. That's not hearing your sister's voice, but I'll leave that there. What is she goes on to say to give an apology to Tiny, stating that her and Aries is her baby, and that she considers Tiny to be his friend and family, and that they're like sisters. And then, of course, Candy barely got an apology, child. She just pretty much said, "If I overlooked you, I'm sorry."
You can't overlook all that. Anywho,
Period.
I'm not buying it.
Are you buying it, friend?
I'm not buying it because I saw a clip. I have not caught up on the show, but I saw the clip to where Tiny, the sister Tamika, and Candy confronted Latasha about her husband receiving kickbacks off of their shows.
I seen that.
With proof.
And they said he did it multiple times, but they weren't able to prove it.
Right.
But
and the fact they can prove this time, and it's so late in their careers, we know
for certain
that he has done this several times. And the fact that the person who paid him the kickback was like, yeah, he told me that he's telling her so she can get y'all the book, and then it's crazy. So not only did he steal from your sister, but he stole from the group.
Facts.
He stole from the group. The fact that she changed her number, Tamika was on Watch What Happens Live. Changed the number. So Tamika doesn't have her number anymore, Latasha's number. Her mom won't give her the number because she said, oh, well, your sister needs her peace.
Oh, that mama is a problem. Mama is a problem. I'm just
kind of like, ugh. For all our young people out here watching, let's not be our parents.
Please don't.
This is a PSA. Strive to be better than your parents' best. Period. I don't care how great it is. We need to improve on the design.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I could. That's some kind of toxic.
Imagine how Tamika would feel.
Imagine how I feel like if I've got. Not only do I have proof, but you still refuse to see it, and I'm damaging my sister. That is
right. You still catch the blame from your mom.
Latasha. Like, child, this is some type of rollout for a gospel album.
Oh, she need all the prayer she can get while she's trying to roll out this album.
This is some type of rollout. So at this point, cut her a check. She needs a public apology. And if and when she decides to talk to you, then that's just what it is from that point.
And this was so crazy to me. It seemed like Tamika Scott is more willing to bridge the gap than
she more willing Latasha. Than me. More willing than me. I kind of feel bad for her because Latasha, every time we see her or hear her speak, it's something different. Like it's really, it's really just not.
It's giving manipulation.
It's not adding up in any way across the different interviews that she has done. Her depiction on the show. And to kind of be honest, even when they had the solo show at first, like a few years ago, she was a villain there. So, listen, even if it's about myself, at some point, everybody's not lying.
Right.
I had to, and that it applies to everybody in some facet of their lives. But sweetie, this is yours. At some point, everybody's not lying on you. Right? You keep talking about, I pay her. Well, do this, that.
Yeah.
Do just that. Even if it was done without your knowledge, which I don't believe, you say and do just that. Oh, and then the thing, all of a sudden her and her husband are in a silent, open relationship.
Right.
Listen, I'm all for the open relationships, but it just seems like it's being used not just by her. I've seen it like used by multiple people as a
Monique used it
convenient,
as well.
not just by not even further than them.
Yeah.
Like I've have seen it being used in a lot of instances to justify we saw your man somewhere. Oh, our relationship is open. I
Right.
mean, not to say that you have to be open about your open relationship, but child, I don't know. I mean, I just I have further questions. Are you stepping out as? I mean, are you open as well? If it's really open and you both, then both parties need to be like actively kind of
Right.
doing it. So, are you saying it so he can do it, or are you doing it? So that's my follow up question to Latasha.
Now answer that on your YouTube page because I want to know
Yeah, I
too.
kind of want to know
Yeah.
because if you're not doing it and he's doing it, but you're okay with it, then I don't really consider it to be open.
And this is my whole problem with Latasha in this whole thing. Like, okay, my first and foremost, I did hear the interview. I mean, not the interview, but the video that she released with the apology.
The
And my
one with the
heart,
cards,
no, no, not the cars. This one, she was is
the new
actually
one.
sitting there and she was crying and she was giving out these half-ass apologies. And my heart went out to her not because she didn't do anything wrong, but because I know in
I
her
don't
statement
know.
alone, she was saying like how the mental health was taking a toll on her because we're all on her neck and pretty much trying to hold her accountable, which is something that she needs to do. Like if you held yourself accountable, you wouldn't be getting so much vitriol from social media or the viewers in this case. Hold yourself accountable, but also it's that your husband been pulling you down since y'all got together with all this stuff from the group, him stealing their money and like your name is being looped in with all of that, and you're going along with it. From him trying to control what you say in your interviews, them damn cards that I know he was holding up in that recent interview that she did. Well, it not interview, but statement that she released on YouTube. Like
I don't know if
I
I
feel
feel
like
sorry for her though. I feel like at some point, even though, because I've been in the same situation, beyond, well, no, I ain't saying
I mean it's
but
like magnitude.
mentally, I guess I've kind of been in a space where she feels like she is, where some point you're the person in the wrong, no matter what it was. If
Mm.
it was mental illness, if it was relationship problems, if it was whatever, you're still the person in the wrong. You are finally feel like in that situation, you have to make your apology quick. You have to cry offline to allow the true victim to have their space and their moment to heal.
Mm.
Your apology, like it can't be
Poor me.
right. It can't be for me. It can't be filled with a lot of justification. Even if you feel like you can justify it, but you just have to realize, okay, I'm not the victim, and anything more than like a true apology, you are making yourself the victim. Like you're taking away.
And that's what
You're
it
taking a
gave,
yeah.
honestly.
Like it's giving that. Like you can be sorry. You can do the public apology. Um, but yeah.
I'm tripping out. But yeah, okay, so let me just be clear. I don't feel sorry for her as far as whether she's, what I'm trying to say. I don't feel sorry for her actions or anything like that because I do feel like she's been held to the fire for a particular reason because she did start most of all this stuff or went along with it. But my heart does go out to her for I know that it has to be a lot to deal with, and I know she in the statement that she released, she was on there crying and she was just like, "How do you know I'm strong enough to handle this?" And that kind of like broke me a little bit inside to know that yes, she's quote unquote the villain or the aggressor in the situation, but at the same time, it's like the human part of me. It's like okay, I feel for her, but like you said, that doesn't negate you from taking accountability, and it doesn't negate the fact that you shouldn't be taking the attention or well, not the attention, but trying
I mean,
to
yeah. I mean,
well, yeah,
this means really
taking
be
attention away from the
you taking
victim.
attention away from the victim.
Yeah,
Like you say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you feel like more is owed, I mean, I guess you could take it directly to her, but I wouldn't even just be apologetic, and you yourself you have to live with that.
yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, that's for anybody. we'll always have an excuse for something. But a big part of like growing up is realizing no matter why I was wrong. Let me allow you to have the space to feel how you feel because you're entitled to feel that. You get over your feelings on your own, sweetie, in your own time.
That's true. Well, I pray that the sisters are able to mend however they need to mend, and
Absolutely.
hopefully the group is able to, come back to the fore. But I believe even if they don't,
I
I
don't
think
know.
they will
I'm
do
kind of cool
well.
with the
Okay.
three. I like Escape 3.
Yeah. Well, not Escape 3.
I mean,
Escape.
I know
Yeah.
it's still Escape,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I feel like the N and E is
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I just call them Escape 3. I like Escape.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
remember
I'm down
Escape.
with it.
I'm done with it.
But for Latasha's sake, girl, I know you need them checks, and I know this gospel album ain't really finna pop like you think it is, so you might want to
I
get back
mean,
with the winning
not with all
team.
this negativity, but
Yes. But moving on, wishing you well and wish you the best. Kim Burrell,
stop.
child, she is back in the news for so desperately.
Speaking of gospel,
Speaking of gospel or the lack thereof, she's in the news for so desperately seeking attention by bringing up the Queen Bee's name in a recent interview she gave, pretty much divulging that during Beyonce's Lemonade era, which was also Jay Z's 444 era, that the Queen locked herself in a room for approximately 11 hours and only listened to her music, her being Kim Burrell, to get better. She mentions that Jay Z himself shared this information with her and called to meet with her in person because he wanted to meet with the person that made his wife better.
she's a narcissist.
Girl, why are you speaking on somebody else? Like, why is this relevant?
She has is time and time again. She keeps proving that she's a narcissist. You could be
She
narcissist. I
is.
guess you could be narcissist in Christ, but
Oh, well.
I just kind of I saw it and two things. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. To me, it's an attempt to crawl back into
Spotlight.
the spotlight, and then the second thing
Period.
is
Clap chasing.
as a person in Christ or a Christian, I just would not feel comfortable diverging that type of personal information about anyone.
Right.
Even if it wasn't Beyonce, even if it was Joe Blow off the street, you're using someone else's moment, uh, their personal moment, their
Darkness.
darkness,
Yeah.
their vulnerability, their their situation, their valley. Before, like you're using this as a tool to uplift you, to kind of uplift yourself, and that
Trying to
is
revive your career. No, ma'am. And it's not going to work.
using it for personal gain. Is kind of like it's that's not okay in any situation.
It's not.
She could have said that about the man at the gas station, like, but I still would have felt the same. But it's kind of I just what how many years ago was this? Where are you bringing this story from? You can guarantee that Jay Z would never call you again.
Oh, period.
If you haven't, you probably already got this cease and desist.
Blackiana.
Nah, and Bakiana, she's probably got that cease and desist
Oh, yeah.
from Jay Z's attorneys and
And
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Double win.
So I doubt we ever hear this story again.
Mm-mm.
But how low do you have to be to share somebody's personal experience for your personal gain? What type of space was Beyonce in where she felt like she needed to be separate from her husband? Who on that album she talked about how she felt during him cheating and how she kind of came back from that.
Right.
So God only knows like what they were going through at the time. And obviously Jay Z reached out to you because you at the time were someone highly respected in the church world, in the Christian space.
Keyword were.
Yeah, keyword is where you were highly respected in the church world, in the Christian space. He thought it was safe to come to you for counsel. But it's not
Mm-mm.
safe if you run back and want to tell the world what you did for them. It's like going to your therapist and your therapist is on a podcast talking about your space.
Right. Yeah,
you just
yeah.
don't do those things.
You know,
You
it's
don't.
it's getting very much clout
It's getting
chasing.
very much tired. We tired of
Very
it.
tired. We
We're
don't
tired of
care if
it.
Queen Bee listens to your music. We still not gonna listen to it, and we still not supporting you. So you just rented and told this lady's business for what? To be slammed again in the public eye? Girl, bye.
Yeah, I don't know what her thought process was
She didn't
surrounding
think.
that. Nobody's thinking this
But
evening.
people always know they're like, if you want attention or clout, let me mention the Queen's name, and then maybe I get a sprinkle of the beehive to come pay me some attention. But girl, we ain't gonna do nothing but drag you
Right.
and
That's
keep it pushing.
exactly. That's a no. Even from even without Beyonce, that's just
Yeah.
I'm not. I would say I was gonna say I'm disappointed, but not because
It's on trend
it's yeah like it's really
for
on
her. Yeah.
trend with Kimberell as of late.
Yeah.
Um, girl, you lady, you need to go get closer to whatever you think
Hmm.
you're close to, and I'll leave it at that.
I know that's right. Kimberly, we're praying for you. No, we're not. Moving on.
I actually may have to send up something for her because
Don't waste your prayer on that lady.
I
It's too late.
prayer is never wasted.
Yeah.
It'll be answered in some way.
Well,
But that is especially coming from the church that is known to be like a condemning body from time to
hmm,
time, especially for the most vulnerable people
yes.
in our community. And here you are, raised up to be like a leader of this overall, and you're literally telling folks business. That's not your testimony to tell. You are not the victim in that.
Right.
You're the help. So your mouth should have been closed. You should have took that to the grave.
She is a waste of vocal ability because the thing can sing. The thing can do some things with that voice, but no, ma'am, I don't care to hear it. But anyway, I feel like we waste too much time on
Too
Miss
much.
Maria.
We absolutely
Girl,
have wasted too much
you
time.
got the attention that you were looking for,
No.
and it ends here. So next, Monique tells her husband that fish is on the menu, child.
Ah ha ha! Not the vegan. Got
The
that fish
vegan
on the
got fish on the
menu.
menu. Okay, so according to the Shade Room, Monique opens up about having a conversation with her husband related to her desire to be intimate with women in her last comedy special on Netflix.
Has it
Friend,
came out yet, or is it just like a clip we
I
seen?
don't know. Like this,
I know it comes out. What's today's date? I might have said it came out April. It comes out later in a
yeah,
month.
maybe so.
Maybe I don't know.
Coming from the girl, by the way, who had all this stuff to say about Netflix, maybe they cut the right chick this time. But that's not why we're here.
I'm all for that though.
Getting the right chick, getting your chick right.
Absolutely. That
Then
was the
going to
whole
Netflix.
point. That was our whole point.
That is the point.
You
I want to
can't
see the
be.
contract though. Like she
No,
was all loud.
I'm pretty sure that she can never speak about that,
Hmm.
which is why she's back on it. That money was enough. She could probably we'd never hear that
Yeah.
unless she.
And Mama gives a good comedy set. She's come here to Memphis a couple times and been to Chocos and like we go see her. Like she's hilarious. So I do want to check out the
Absolutely.
Netflix series for the stand up comedy. But Chad, what do we think about this fish being on the menu
I'm
in the
happy for
bedroom?
her. I'm happy for her. Honestly,
Are you?
I am. I
Mm-hmm.
have a love hate relationship with Monique.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I feel like her tact is off sometimes. Like the way she may go about it, or the way that she says things, maybe a little bit off. Um, as far as like what my personality allows me to be,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of happy for her. I feel like we're moving into this era of a lot of people call it sending it home and all that, but I just kind of feel like it's more like sexual,
Fluidity.
yeah, sexual liberation.
At least for the women, child.
At least for the women, the men, it's a slow race.
Yeah.
It's a slower journey, but I'm happy for her. I'm
I
surprised that
guess.
she has chosen to share this piece of information now because her husband, her marriage have been under attack for years.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of interesting. It's interesting to me.
And this, I guess, that's kind of why I'm a little reserved to say that I'm happy for her. Like, if this is genuinely who you are, Monique, then of course, as a black gay man, I'm absolutely happy for you in that right. However, just thinking back to her, the history of her relationship and the fact that they were in this open relationship, and she just recently
Closed it.
came out and said that they closed it. It's like, are you doing this now to open that door for your husband, or are you doing it because it's something that you are actually open to?
I'm not. I'm I'm definitely going to say I have more questions. I
She needs them same questions you
have
gave to
a
Latasha.
I have a ton of questions, but as far as her feeling secure enough in her relationship to say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling. I've been repressed," and he being secure in himself enough to say, "Okay, well, let's do this thing or let's experience this, or whatever." Kudos to them for that. The rest of it, I got a lot of questions, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel.
you don't buy it.
I'm not quite buying it now. If
I'm not gonna say like I'm like as ecstatic as some
yeah,
others, but I have a lot of questions.
she's saying this boldly and publicly though, so that part I'm proud for her for doing that. But it's just that it's just her the
True, I think
husband
I
part.
want to. I don't care about her husband. I need to see her actions moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for you to come out and say that you like women, regardless on if you want to or not, you're now on the spectrum.
You are
You are. Regardless of what you are practicing at home, now that your relationship is closed, it does not make you any less bisexual or queer
right,
as a person.
right.
So I need to kind of see how she's going to operate
Mm-hmm.
in the LGBTQ space, in the
Right.
advocacy space,
Same,
moving forward. Because
same.
if you're not going to use your power to advocate, then that's something that you should have kind of kept to yourself. So I think that's kind of where I'm happy that this is kind of like her coming out, or she's kind of being open and honest. That at the end of the day, I need to see how she's going to move for our community because you are part of it now.
You are.
So the first time
Yeah.
she shits on this, I'm like, okay, girl, you did it for some views. So I kind of need to see how she's gonna move forward because
So
I
let
know that she's like very heavy in the Christian space as well. Um,
oh is she?
oh yeah, like in the religion space,
Mm.
I kind of feel like she has kind of been on that journey a little bit as well. And she's at the intersection of that. We're gonna talk about intersectionality, so she's at the intersection of that. I need to see how she's going to operate for these different facets of herself.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna watch the Netflix
I am going to watch it.
stand up?
Absolutely.
Same.
Monique is one thing that you cannot,
Comedy queen.
one thing you
Hello,
can't deny is her talent.
comedy
She
queen.
is hilarious.
Very much so.
And I'm a person who's kind of really picky about like my comics. I don't find everybody funny, and it's
Mm.
not because they, are not funny, but comedy is what you find funny is kind of based on your personal experience. So I can
Yeah,
relate a lot to her. I find her absolutely hilarious. So,
hilarious. Yeah, she's that girl.
and
She's
she's
that
a
queen. Yeah.
girl. I'm excited that Netflix, learned what her worth is.
Well, she
So I
told
mean, and she's
that
been
as what her
doing
worth
it.
is.
Hey,
It went that.
it went what they
We
offered.
could do something with this, but okay.
So hopefully it kind
Yeah,
of works out.
yeah,
I want to see her back on TV in a comedy.
yes. She just not so long ago had a movie released on Netflix too, right? I
Is
heard
it
this.
BT Plus?
Was it BT Plus?
The scary movie?
Yeah, it's a scary
Oh,
movie.
I can't watch that.
I had to check it out. My best friend Jacoby. Shout out to Jacoby. She's in the comments too.
She's in the comments. Hey, girl.
Hey. Yeah. But yeah. So, and I heard great things about it. I haven't watched it yet, best friend, but I'm gonna watch
I
it.
started, but
Heard good things.
that's not my ministry. I don't do.
Yeah.
I don't do like. I don't do a lot of scary nothing.
Yeah. Well, wishing you well, Monique, in your
Wishing you
career
well.
and on
I'm
this new
watching you.
journey, and I just hope this is a journey that is for you and you own it. Okay?
It is. I'm watching it. I'm watching it for. I'm watching your journey.
Yeah. All right. What is going on, friend? What we got?
I don't know. I don't know if anything. I don't know. I'm back on the sidewalk.
We back on the sidewalk.
We are back on the sidewalk.
Let's get on back on the sidewalk then. Let's hang up this phone from the streets, child, because they be messy. You know, we don't do mess. We don't do gossip. Ooh.
Q just finished being messy and got.
After I done finished, yeah, we don't
After
do.
he's finished, sound like somebody we done talked about.
Oh,
Ooh, and that wraps
well,
up.
look, if I'm gonna hold her accountable, I guess I need to hold
Hold
myself.
yourself accountable.
What you say about that mirror again?
That
Ah,
wraps up the streets segment for uh, today. If there's something that you want us to talk about, put it in the comments. We may
yes,
see it, we may add it, we may not.
right.
Uh, yeah.
Send us a DM
Send us
or
an
slide in our
email.
DMs on social media or whatever the
Slide in his
case.
DM. His page is public at this
No,
point.
do not slide in my personal DM. Friend, what are you talking about?
Oh, you forget we got the personal page.
Yes,
You look, yeah, I'm really like not a
please don't.
social media person, so
He be on that chat.
I really don't.
He be on Instagram.
I've been on Instagram.
That's the only thing though.
I know.
Ish.
So here's my definition of getting on Instagram. I pick one video and I just keep reeling it. So anything else,
Whatever pop up.
whatever, it's literally like whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like me biding my time. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking like at anyone in particular. I really don't even scroll down my feed. I don't even do that much.
Yeah, but if y'all do have a topic or something, don't send it to our personal pages because, like Larry said, he barely on that child. But you can send it to our Two Gold Mics podcast page on Instagram or via Twitter,
Look at me
and
trying to set Percy up, y'all.
we'll get back to y'all.
We'll get back to it.
Vanessa slid in our DMs.
Who?
Vanessa. God.
I want to do last names. I know what you're
Oh,
talking about.
beep. You know, beep.
Oh, that's not her last name anyway.
Oh
That's not her
yeah.
last
Oh yeah.
name
Show not.
Hey man.
Hey girl.
Oh,
But,
obviously, tell me. I haven't even logged into our page.
see, that's a shame. Yeah, I'm gonna get you logged in just in case.
You listen. Y'all got to pry that page to public. You hear me? Pry it to public. And I keep forgetting to make my little Twitter. That's enough for me.
Yeah.
I liked it when the world was simple, when everybody couldn't say what they feel. But I guess I'm saying what I feel now. So,
Yeah.
anywho,
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
and that's unfortunate.
Oh well.
All right, y'all. Let's head into our next section. We're going to get into the in our bag. As you all know, in our bag is when we dig deeper, deeper, deeper into our bag and talk about some more complex topics. It may evolve around a story, it may evolve around a number of things. And if you have suggestions for this segment, you heard what was just stated. Today, I want to talk about intersectionality.
Ooh.
Intersectionality. For those of you all who don't
Break
know
it
what it
down,
is, let me
friend.
spell it. It's
Ooh.
INTER section ality.
Ooh. Come on, keep letting the be.
I I'm trying to think about how I came up with this topic. So I was on a meeting. I was on a meeting at work
Come on, work
last
me.
week, and I just instead of paying attention, which I should have been doing, I take notes. Any meeting I do, I take notes. So my note taking for my meeting, you don't.
No, not all means.
Oh, I have to see stuff to remember it. So
Uh,
if I don't write down what somebody's saying to me,
it never was said.
it was never heard. And I tell my boss all the time, like, if you feel like I didn't, if you don't see me scribbling,
I'm not here, girl.
yeah, like you can say, "Hey, did you get it?" Or you can send me a reminder. I'm just that person. That's why I always tell my friends, "Oh, text it to me, and I won't open it until I go sit down
Mm.
because I need to see it for it to be on my mind." But I was sitting in a meeting, I was scribbling. I don't even remember what type of meeting it was, but I just kind of felt like my mind was racing. Oh, I'm at the intersection of black and gay. and what does that mean for me? Or what does it mean for someone who's at the intersection of something else?
Mhm.
What does it mean to you when you see the word intersectionality? Just give me your broad uh, definition. So, how have you been operating? What definition have you been operating on in forms of
Oh, this is a question
intersectionality?
for me.
It's a question
I
for
don't know why
you.
I thought he was talking to y'all. I'm the only one here sitting, but
And if you're out there, feel free. Tell me what definition of intersectionality are you operating on?
put it in the comments. I guess for me, intersectionality would be black gay male. Like that's how I define it. That's what it is for me, and it's just pretty much saying like, hey, I am both of these things at the same time, and that comes with different type of challenges in my everyday life. So just because I am black alone does not equate to me being also black and gay. They're like two separate different things, and they both come with separate challenges.
You're kind of like right on the head. As I was doing like research into this topic, it was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about intersectionality. At work, it's part of my job. It's those different um, classes and those different identities that any one person can belong to.
Mm-hmm.
You are everything in you, like at the same time. So, starting my research, the term was coined by a black woman,
Of course, it
a black
was
queen.
a black queen. Come on,
The
queen.
term intersectionality was coined by Professor Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989 to describe how race, class, gender, and other individual um, characteristics intersect with one another and they overlap. It has gone viral probably over the last decade. Like we're seeing a lot, um, particularly in response to women's rights and women's suffrage movements. Is
Mm-hmm.
really how this has become a popular term. So let's talk a little bit about how Kimberly came up with this term, how she coined this term, and what was happening in her world where she felt like we needed a term for this. So, in a defining case, a group of black women were told by the court that they were not discriminated against because there was no evidence that African American men were mistreated, nor that women were mistreated at the same job location.
Caucasian women.
Kimberly Crenshaw realized that the courts could not see that it was where race and gender intersected that the discrimination was present and acute. The plaintiffs were not either black or women. They were both. And because they were both, they suffered from negative labels placed on both identities.
Mm-hmm.
So you suffered from they were suffering from the fact that they were women. They were suffering from the fact that they were black. And now whammy on top of that, they're suffering from the fact that they are black women. And that's intersectionality.
And it's so crazy to me. Before you move on, when you brought this topic to me, the very first thing that I thought about was the black
What's the
woman.
black woman?
Yeah, not even knowing that a black woman coined the term, but it's just everything about a black woman being a black woman. It seems like they have it a little bit harder. And I don't go too far because I know you're probably going to speak and touch on this a little bit, but
Well, no, I mean, that was kind of what I was going to. Black women, they sometimes experience discrimination in ways that are similar to a white woman's experience. But then it's very similar to the experiences of a black man. Yet often they experience the double discrimination.
mm-hmm.
So it's the combined effects of practices which discriminate on basis of race, which discriminate on basis of
Gender.
sex as well. And like we said, she said like sometimes they experience the sum of those things as well. But I'll give you a more textbook term definition of what is intersectionality. Oftentimes, I felt the need to kind of dive into this topic as well because I usually hear it in a positive light. Um, yeah. Oh, I am. We've seen all the I am campaigns. I am black, and I am. gay and I am this and I'm a I've seen it used a lot
Oh, I see what
lately
you're
in a
saying. Like,
celebratory
mm-hmm.
type of tone when the creation of the word by this black woman was really to highlight the oppression that
Mm-hmm.
one suffers from having to deal with discrimination that's overlapping
Right.
and what comes with dealing with overlapping discrimination. Because I am not just one, but I am this, and then this is combined. Textbook. The concept of intersectionality describes the ways in which systems of inequality based on gender, race, ethnic, sexual orientation, gender identity, it can deal with disability, it definitely deals with class, and other forms of discrimination intersect to create unique dynamics and effects. Um, for example, if a Muslim woman is wearing a hijab, if she's being discriminated, it's kind of almost impossible to dissociate her being female from her Muslim identity and to isolate the dimensions causing her discrimination. She can be discriminated because she's Muslim. She can be being discriminated at any point in time because she's a woman, because that's still happening, both.
Mm-hmm.
And she could be literally more than likely probably discriminated because she's a Muslim woman at
Right.
that, because there's cultural context to the overlay. Like actually being a black woman, there's cultural context behind that. Actually being a Muslim woman, actually being a black queer man, actually being a white
Mm-hmm.
queer man. There's always cultural context behind those things that often is for people of color, um, is rooted in some type of discrimination from the individual subset. So, a question: have you experienced discrimination or prejudice due to one or more of your overlapping identities? You stated um, that you identify at the intersection of black and gay and male.
Mm-hmm.
I as well identify at the intersection. So, have you ever experienced discrimination or prejudice due to one of those things individually?
Individually,
Let's start individually, and then we can go to overlap.
yeah. Well, of course, as a black male, of course, I have faced discrimination and prejudice just because of that alone. Um, but the thing about it is, I guess it's kind of hard for me to separate the well, not separate. I can separate being black and being gay and what those discriminations look like apart, but the intersectionality part piece of it when they overlap, I not to say that I'm not being discriminated against combined, but it's just harder to identify those things
Okay, I think I can
for
understand
me.
that.
You know.
I think the interesting part, of how the term was coined, the interesting part about the example that we just gave about the Muslim woman wearing a hijab is my bias. Well, for the not even my bias, for the sake of this example, we're going to say that this Muslim woman is of the black and brown
Mm-hmm.
community. When we say that we don't know if she's being because, discriminated is because is she female or because she's Muslim. For me, at the intersection of all these things, we're black presenting. So, as a person of color with any subset of identities that intersect, the one thing that you cannot control, that we cannot turn off, is race or
You can't
skin
change the
color.
skin.
So, as far as a black person, I definitely experienced discrimination
Mm-hmm.
at my big age and so vividly in my young age by a police officer. So I wanted to go into that. But
That's crazy. I knew you were gonna say something about police officer.
it
Same,
was.
same.
I was minding my black young business. He was bothering me. But I will talk more about that story when I feel like it could be
Surprise,
more.
surprise. The police discriminate against black males. Well, not just black males, but just black people in general. But I
No, but
digress.
right, but that's one of those um, dimensions of diversity. One of those identities where where intersectionality has that more that discriminatory kind of connotation to it because this is what I present as.
Right.
I'm a more mask presenting man, so my immediate reaction to discrimination is damn, it's because I'm black.
Right.
Now, as far as like discrimination or prejudice due to one or more of my overlapping identities, honestly, I feel like for me, even at the intersection, if I'm looking at like discrimination at that intersection, at me being black and gay and male, for me, I feel like it still always points back to race. Like, oh well, yeah, you're black, gay male. You should champion more for like gay rights. And I'm a vocal person, so I immediately say, okay, well, gay rights are not always gay. Like gay rights do not always positively affect uh, queer people of color.
Right.
Like what we're championing for, once we pass the goalpost, then race kind of becomes a factor in how it's received, what kind of treatment we get, what kind of access that we have to some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I have definitely faced both.
Yeah. And I guess I want to add on to this, and this may be very problematic, but I don't have any problem with it.
We
I
know
feel like I feel
it.
like honestly, most of my black gay intersectionality prejudice comes from the black community, and that's just solely because like when I think about things like that, like I think about like the looks that I may get from like black women, like when I'm just walking around, or if me and my partners holding hands, or we're sitting at a restaurant eating, mind our business, and we may be sitting next to each other, and it's obvious that we're gay. Like we get those looks and those stares, or from the black men, black cisgendered straight men, um, encountering a black gay person like myself. Like it's no doubt that comes with prejudice and discrimination. So I honestly have to say that most of the intersectionality comes that I noticed right off the bat, because this is not at all to excuse some of those that I don't attribute to being at the intersection. But the ones that I can vividly think of off the top of my mind all come from
Straight
people within my
cis
community.
men being
Straight,
community.
yeah, the straight black community. It's like they had somebody less than to kind of like beat down on a little bit.
Oh, that's a good point. Um, I've like seen other people like have this conversation around intersectionality, and they make it a who has it worse
Yeah, yeah.
kind of debate. Well, who has it worse? I've seen people ask, "Are you black first, or are you gay first, or are you a woman first, or are you a man first?" But default for us, we automatically have to be what you see first, because
Which
that's
is
kind of
black.
how we are.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how society and that's kind of how society has run its course in our
Hmm.
country. That's kind of how people have been put in their place. It's always been okay. What color are you? Kind of thing. But I guess I could make this disclaimer: nobody's struggle is. Yeah, I'm not gonna make that disclaimer. No, I'll talk about that later.
Keep for yourself,
I
friend.
will keep it for myself. So, friend has multiple identities benefited or hindered your professional development in a workplace. Do you feel like being at the intersection of all of these things has hindered you or helped you?
If anything, it's hindered me.
Really?
Yeah, if anything, it's a hindrance. Mind you, I'm the type of person at work, like, because a lot of people won't automatically think that I'm a gay man. They
Mm-hmm.
automatically assume that I'm straight, and then when we have that conversation, when we cross that bridge, I'm like, oh yeah, my man, he at home. Period. And like even on like my email and my Outlook, where my picture is, like I have the rainbow around it. Like I let the girls know, like I'm representing for that. But that's something that like I guess what you prefer, like sexually. doesn't come straight off. But I'm black always. But I definitely feel like, friend, what's the question again? I haven't got
Has
how I
it
looked in.
hindered or has it hindered your professional
Oh
development
yeah,
in the
it
workplace?
it definitely has hindered opposed to the opposite because like when you're trying to learn stuff like we were talking about unconscious biases earlier, you never know how someone feels about a person being gay. They might not come out and divulge their information, but we know we have a lot of people that are very strong in the Bible or in the Christian faith or whatever their religion is, and a lot of those religions look down on homosexuality. And so, like I said, like it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint and say like for sure like this is an instance where I was being judged because I'm both black and gay, but I can definitely attribute it to the very at least the very first with being black for lower pay or um, being hindered with the type of work that is offered to me or just the ability just to grow within a company. Like it's clear there's not a lot of people that look like me above me. You know what I'm saying? So that's direct and in my face. I can pinpoint that. But it's kind of hard to pinpoint somebody judging or having a prejudice towards you because you're both of those things at the same time. Just I mean, unless you're a black woman, honestly, I feel like because I know black women, and that's why every time you bring up intersectionality, I go straight to black women because I know when we think about the wages, they get paid less than a white woman. They get paid less than a black male. They get paid less, of course, than a white male. Like, so it's like direct and in your face and easier to dissect. But like, what do those numbers look like for a black gay male? I don't know.
Don't know. I went to a conference out in equal workplace diversity conference. It's like a conference. It's like the largest LGBTQ diversity conference focused on um, the workplace. It was amazing. But a lot of I'm said to say this. A lot of companies are just now starting to track
Mm-hmm.
or starting to kind of like put the tools in place to collect that type of information, like
Mm-hmm.
on sexuality.
Because I want to say, just back here, the
Because not
current
federal.
company that I met, like they just recently had us fill out the information. I want to say probably like a year
Yeah,
ago, and we had to answer those questions.
we are like in the process of
Mm-hmm.
trying to do that with my friend. The issue with that is states' laws are different everywhere. If your
Mm-hmm.
company is international, the the laws by country are very, very, very different.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be careful with what information you collect to not put the person who you want to divulge the information in harm's way. But
Let me ask you the same question though, friend, before
oh,
you move on.
no, I'm not moving on. I was going to answer the
Okay, well, go
question
ahead. Yes.
that I asked
Don't
you.
like that. Don't try to slide back because I
I'm
want
not
to
gonna slide
know.
by.
I
So
want to know.
has the question was has having multiple identities benefited or hindered your professional development in the workplace? I actually agree with you, but I also feel like it's either left or right. So it's either
Yeah.
you have that experience, or unfortunately you have a pat. I'll tell you why I say unfortunately, but unfortunately you may have a more positive um, experience because I feel like for people with those unchecked biases, and I'm a tall, like black man, to them being gay softens me.
Okay.
It makes them less fearful of who I am. It makes me seem less naturally aggressive
Yeah.
in the
That's a
workplace.
good point that you make. Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like there definitely may have been situations where it may have helped me in terms of like who I'm working with or the person. And it doesn't mean that they said these things, but I just as a person who knows people
Mm-hmm.
and you know how like the world responds to you, I can kind of we're definitely gonna. I have another question. We'll come back to this, but
Okay.
I can see the ways into which the intersectionality, the identities that I identify with, can be helpful to in the right situation with the right person. But however, that still paints a picture of how society views my race as a whole,
And I'm just gonna say this. Yeah, that's true. That's
which is not
100%
in the,
true.
which is not in the best way. If
Mm.
something else has to soften me,
Right. Because that means that the first identifying is in you is
which is a
black.
thing that you cannot get rid of,
Yeah. Right.
which is race.
Right. Yeah. So
So that's interesting.
yeah, interesting.
Interesting. So I have more feeling. All forms of inequality are mutually reinforcing and must therefore be analyzed and addressed simultaneously to prevent one form of inequality from reinforcing another. For example, when we're talking about gender pay gap, if you don't include dimensions such as race, socioeconomic status, immigration status, it will likely reinforce inequalities among women.
Yeah, for sure.
Meaning how you literally just brought up how black women get paid less when we're talking about gender and the pay gap, which I've seen, I've seen conversations on news, different types of articles that have been written about it. If you don't focus on race, black women are gonna black women and women of color are gonna continue to fall at the bottom
Yeah.
of who
Right. Because I
of
think
that
even
fire.
Latin women, because you brought up women of color, just altogether, I think
I
they
don't
even
think
get
they
paid less than a black
Yeah, and
woman
I want to
does.
say, and Native, and I can say this from experience. There's little to no information about what Native American women,
Really.
Indigenous women, are getting paid.
Mm.
So you have to, and this is also factual that you have to, um, when we're looking at reinforcing some of these things, the simultaneous aspect has to be there. It may be uncomfortable, but this shows that race does matter. When you're looking to dismantle certain systems and certain processes, you have to look at the factors. You have to look at race. You have to look at gender. You have to look at status.
And look at these things combined together and how they're layered as well. Because they
Exactly.
create their own separate things that need to be addressed.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to look at access. So you have to look at all of those things.
Mm.
These intersecting and overlapping social identities may be both empowering. You talked about it at the beginning, but they also may be oppressive.
Yeah.
The current debate over intersectionality is really three debates. Um, One is based on what academics like Crenshaw, who created the term, what do you actually mean? Which is why actually, what's your working definition? Doing the research, you see different definitions. Some may only attribute it to the oppressive factor. Some are only attributing it to the empowering factor, which I see a lot of with companies like in representation.
Of course they
Um,
are.
One is based on how activists seeking to eliminate disparities between the groups have interpreted the term. Like if you are shouting for LGBTQ empowerment and resources, are you looking at the different identities that can also be layered with
Right.
that? Like, are you looking at how it affects people of color? Are you looking at how it affects disabled persons who
Mm.
identify as LGBTQ? Are you looking at it how it affects LGBTQ people from different classes, like from different socioeconomic classes,
That's what I asked
because
too.
that
I'm like,
points
does that?
to like access.
Right.
We're doing all these things, and things may get passed, but who has access to it? You have to look at it from
Yeah.
a lot of different ways. And the third is how some conservatives are responding to its use by those activists. So, opera, what definition of the word is a government operating under?
Right.
Because that's important because they're passing the laws. The activists are pleading to these people to change the laws. We're protesting for these things. But in order for us to get to the result that we want, we have to be kind of operating under the same definition of
Right.
what the term actually means.
And since the black sister created it, we should be operating off of her definition.
And she's very much alive
Period.
and well and
Yeah.
still involved in this debate. So, What thoughts and feelings emerge as you reflect upon your own privileged and or marginalized identities? And we kind of really
Touched
touched
on
on
it.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. With the especially as far as privilege, I say it again. I do feel the privilege over my black sister, who may be working the same job, working just as hard as I am, and getting a lower pay pay wage. There's one ways that I do have a privilege over her.
And I'm going to put all of the questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see all the questions because I've done several trainings on like teaching people like the definition of unconscious bias, how to identify what your biases are, and one of the first steps in doing that is to recognize what your privilege is.
Mm.
So I definitely commend you, and it's the same for me. I definitely have the privilege of knowing that I'm not 9 times out of 10 like my pay is going to be like correct.
Right.
I feel like as a black man outside of my community, kind of being queer, even within the community, to certain people, it may make you more tolerable. So there's a little privilege in there, but it's also some marginalized from within the community. You spoke
Right.
to that
Yeah.
as well. Um, what?
Can I add to my intersectionality though, since
Absolutely.
because I wasn't sure before you just informed me, so I just was enlightened that yo social I will not
Socioeconomic
yeah
status
socioeconomic status
is an identity.
is a part of it. So I'm also a poor black gay male, so we're gonna add that in there
No,
too.
and I'm not laughing because he said he's poor, but no, that is true. Your socioeconomic status is as relevant as your
Yeah,
gender identity, as your race, as your sexual identity, because it controls so much of how or what your life is.
yeah.
I think we think that America is such a country where everyone
No
automatically
ma'am,
has equal
no ma'am,
access to everything,
no ma'am.
and a lot of people don't look up or down, but your socioeconomic status really decides like how you're able to move in the
Yeah,
world. So it's it's very very important.
right. And let me reorder that. I'm black, gay, poor, and male.
There you go.
There we go.
So intersectionality is a mainstay. The concepts of critical race studies, critical race theories, feminist studies, queer studies, when you talk about the socialization of like globalization, how the world has been globalized,
Mhm.
and those things are, in addition to race, class, gender, sexuality, nationality, all of those things are kind of included in the intersectional approach. So a lot of the things that you know, and some of the factors that you some of the identities that you may not even know exist, but you are a part of, that all plays like a part. When
Yeah,
used thoughtfully, intersectionality recognizes the diversity of experiences within marginalized groups and provides framework for recognizing and addressing the needs of the individuals. In order to uplift black women, you can't just look at what's great to uplift black people or look at what's great to uplift women, because then you're missing the people who are at
intersection.
the intersection
Yes,
of that, and they're very layered experience. It's the same. In order to lift up black queer people, you have to look beyond what's great for black people, what's beyond what's great for queer people, non-colored queer people, because the experiences in those communities are drastically different.
very well said, friend.
Very
Very
well.
well said.
It is a drastically different experience.
Mhm.
Um, I end on intersectionality is a prism for understanding certain kinds of problems. How the convergence of racial stereotypes and gender stereotypes may play out, because those are the two biggies. And I would say you can't change outcomes without knowing how they have come about. So if you don't look at the
That's very true.
intersection, you don't know what the problem is because you haven't got to the root of that. So let me
Which I
ask you.
guess is kind of like the issue that I'm faced with now, not being able to recognize what type of privileges. Well, I recognize a couple of privileges, but um, I guess kind of oppressions that I'm facing at the intersectionality. Like I feel like I could do more work in this space to understand it and to learn more about what that looks like for me, and maybe I can, like you said, you can't fix something until you know what the problem is, what the issue is, and then you can come up with a solution or an answer for it. But until you acknowledge it or put some thought into it, you're just out there. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know
Absolutely,
what you don't know.
you don't. And I encourage you to. I don't. This might be a blanket statement, but usually you're at the intersection with someone else. The
Hmm.
group may be small,
Hmm.
but you really need to, if you're looking like to find like what the depression piece is, you have to look at that particular like community. I ended with this question: what aspect of your identity do you resonate with the most?
I only pick one.
You gotta pick one. What do you
Oh,
resonate with the
black.
most?
I'm black. I feel like in everything that I said, like I always started with black. So I would definitely say, and that's not just because that's how I feel. Well, I feel that way too because I love being black. We lit over here,
But
but it's
but do
just
you?
how the world sees me. So I feel like I'm forced to wear that first. I'm not a human first. I'm not a man first. In my own opinion, I feel like I'm viewed first as black, and then they see gay, and then it goes down from there. Then they see I'm poor.
I think I resonate the same. I just kind of feel like I cannot the it's like it's almost as if sometimes the world forces you to defend yourself for being black so much.
Yes, yes,
It's like and it's hard for it not to resonate within me or any
yeah,
person of color
right,
out there, any person of color from any other race or ethnicity. That the world just kind of forces you to prove your worth to us
right.
before you peel that back to see the
The
other
human,
layers. Yeah, like the
yeah,
human
the
thing,
man. Yeah.
the other things.
Very true. Very true. And sad at the same time. Very
It
sad.
it kind of is. I think I'm gonna make that my homework. Let's wrap up the conversation. We're moving into one of my favorite segments of this episode, which is
Homework time.
homework. I will
Hope y'all been
say
taking y'all notes. I'm just
I
playing.
know. So my homework assignment for last week was to get organized. Round of applause to myself. I cleaned my desk. Well,
That's the step.
it's a step. I cleaned my desk. I got a new, I use a whiteboard, so I got a new uh, dry erase calendar board to kind of go with my whiteboard. Um, I am a sticky noter, so I kind of went through all my I got sticky notes all over my desk everywhere. I live in my office, so I went through
Mhm.
them, read them, threw away old things, put the newer things to the forefront. So my desk looks a lot better than what it was.
Good. Good for you,
Than it
friend.
did. So I got organized. I went to IKEA, got some more of those little organizer things to put on my desk to put stuff in.
Mm.
So I I I did. I got a little organized. So I'm happy that I did
Good for you.
that piece.
I did not do my organization homework
Ah,
because I know I'm supposed to get to them emails.
yeah, you did say you're gonna get
Oh,
to, but you know what?
child, I have not.
You have time.
I do have time. I still the week's not over. I can still get to it. And if you guys have not been able to complete your homework, please turn in your assignment late, but get it done.
Get it done.
Don't stop. Don't let that be an excuse to not get it done.
No.
And for my homework last week, I told you all to make an action, take a first step, and just do something. Whether that be filling out a job application, applying for school. If you said that you was going to lose that weight at the beginning of the year and you still haven't been, and you haven't even gotten a gym membership, take that action to do that. So whatever it is for you, you should have been making that action this week. So what else? Which I don't think I didn't make an action either, y'all. So I am doing horrible as far as homework assignments, which is on trend.
I would say my action item was to finish my taxes. I'm not.
This has been an action item for like
I
at
have
least a
not done
month
it.
now, and I still haven't got to it. But I am supposed to make that action tomorrow. I'm supposed to, start and
Do you
do
think?
that. Yeah, but that deadline is coming, child. But
Chad, I saw what I was owing. I just gave up.
instead of get somebody else to do it.
I saw the number and it wasn't green. Like I was getting the money back. I was like, I know I'm broke.
But in that case, take your time. Not too much time, but take your time.
OMG. So
What's your homework for this week?
my homework is going to be based off of the In Our Bag segment on intersectionality. I want you to do a deep dive. Make a list of all the identities that you identify with.
Mm-hmm.
Do a little research. There are plenty of lists and maps of diversity demographics and diversity identities. You may find something, a community that you identify with that you did not know that you could or that you are a part of. I want you to take a minute, see what you're at the intersection of, and reflect on what aspect you identify with. Reflect on what resonates with you. Um, and reflect on if you have had any benefits or oppressive discrimination based on those aspects. I want you to do that. I think it's good for you moving forward to be like a well informed human being.
Right, yeah. So you can
And
recognize your privileges as
you
well,
realize your privileges
your
and you
oppressions.
realize your biases as well. So see where you sit. Where intersection are you? Where are you sitting right now? In my work.
Great homework. Great homework. I definitely need to do it. I guess my homework for this week uh, would be to treat yourself. You deserve it. Um, don't just go to work and just work. When you get that check, make sure you treat yourself by doing something, whether it's going to get a massage, like my friend, gave me for my birthday, or
Or getting a 10-piece fried hard
listen,
with
get
extra ranch.
lemon pepper.
I want a lemon pepper now. I'm a
You better
garlic.
get that lemon pepper with.
I'm
Oh,
a
what
garlic.
is it with you black people and this garlic? Y'all love this garlic, Chad.
Absolutely.
But I can't. It can't be overpowering. I like garlic too, but it can't
Garlic me.
overpower.
Garlic parmesan. I take that. I take spicy garlic if you got it. Garlic
Oh,
buffalo.
now I can use that spicy garlic.
Uh,
But yes, treat yourself. You deserve them
I treat
garlic
myself for food.
wings or them lemon pepper.
You
You
can
deserve
see
to go out. Don't just go to work and go home, y'all. Like you have to get out and enjoy life. We're living life.
we are. Y'all gonna see the life I've been living in the streets this summer.
Yes.
You gonna see the body that treating yourself. That treating
Listen,
yourself has gotten.
because I've been eating, friend. I've been eating too much.
And I
But
keep telling myself like I'm gonna start my
I'm gonna
sit
work it
ups. I'm
out.
gonna start my workouts today.
Oh,
Today
we
never
got
comes.
this our homework. We gotta
But
because we said we was gonna come up with remember Joy, she said we gonna come up
okay,
with our
yeah. So
little
we can check in and be kind of accountable with
accountable
this
for
for our workouts.
our workout.
Okay, so we're gonna do that.
Yeah, but you guys treat yourselves, go out, get a drink, go out with some friends, have a good time. Don't just go home after work. Life is not about work. Hang out with friends, family, love on one another. That's what life is about. Not about clocking in at their job. Girl, they can do without you. And they will if they must. So treat yourself.
I like it. That's our homework
Yeah.
for the week. Any last thoughts, friend?
Yes, last thought, follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Please subscribe.
Look us up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also follow us on our social media links below. And that's it. That's all the thoughts I got. We
Ooh,
love you guys.
share,
Damn.
share, share,
Yes.
share, share.
Share, share, share.
Everybody who's listening, our loyal supporters, I encourage you. Your
Yes.
honorary homework, extra credit. You know,
Come on,
your
extra
extra
credit.
credit is to share us with someone
I
to
love it.
get them to
Yes.
listen to us. We're growing,
We are.
and that's it for me. If nobody told you that they love you today, we love you.
We love you.
Yep. Again, I'm LD.
I am the guy Louis. It's just in my spirit. I am Percy. And you guys have been listening to
To
Two Gold
go, Mike.
Mics. Peace, you
Peace.
guys.